Bro, I'm telling you right now, you need a blackout bag. I'm just going through mine, making some updates. The first thing is you need something that when the lights go out, you can grab and immediately know you have emergency supplies so you can be a little bit more comfortable whenever you're chilling inside your apartment, your house, your wherever the hell you stay at. I prefer to get a duffel bag that is very bright in color. This one just happens to be neon yellow. I'll link any of this crap up down below that I find for this bag. This one I like particularly because it has pockets on the outside that you can access. Normally I'll keep snacks and stuff out here. And then I have a larger pocket on the outside, all accessible from the outside. And then the main part of the bag itself, nice, big. I mean, this is probably like a 50-liter bag or something like that. I don't know the exact size, but the main purposes of this is that this lives in a closet. Everyone in my family knows if the power goes out, grab this bag. It's going to make it comfortable, especially for those folks who don't have a like predisposed prep mindset, like my teenager or Mrs. X, right? They know they're gonna have all the crap they need inside that bag. Now I put everything out and I have it sitting here. I'm going to tell you why I have some of these things. The reason that I'm even going through my bag is because some of the stuff in here is using alkaline batteries and some of them are using lithium batteries, and some stuff just needs to make sure they're not dried out or have moisture. Everything needs different type of prep items. But purpose of a blackout bag: power goes out. Hopefully the stuff you have inside can keep you comfortable for 48 to 72 hours along with other crap. I've reviewed a lot of solar power stations on this channel. I recommend you take a look and maybe get yourself something from Dapson, EcoFlow, Afri, lots of different brands just to have ways to keep power going. But let's just talk about the stuff to put in your bag. First is going to be an emergency radio. There's a reason why the power went out, and it's most likely storm related, tornado related, hurricane related. Secondarily, it just could be grid related. Someone ran into a pole, took out a couple of transformers, whatever. You may not be able to get that information from a NOAA radio, but if it is weather related, you will be able to get that information. And it's going to be critical you get something that's reliable. I recommend get something that's at least dual fuel sourced and very, very reliable. I like Midland. They make really good radios. This is their older version of the ER. This is kind of like their top end of their NOAA radios. They have a newer version that now includes Bluetooth, and it uses micro USB Type C instead of micro USB that this one uses, but this one's still just fine. Okay, you can charge it with solar. You can use the built-in battery that this thing has, or in a pinch, you can put AA batteries inside of this. And there's a little switch on the side that tells this thing, hey, switch over from the lithium batteries to the alkaline batteries, and the radio will be able to work. It always has a screen that's illuminated. It doesn't take that much battery, but it will tell you what the how much charge is remaining on the lithium battery that's inside of this bad boy. And it's just good to be able to have something super reliable, very long antenna, great warranty. This company is making some banger stuff. So an emergency radio is going to be critical. I would recommend you keep that kind of like just maybe towards the top of your bag. But at the end of the day, if you're grabbing this whole bag, you know, that's kind of neither here nor there. Some other things that I would keep on the outside of the bag will be flashlights. Now, I would say these flashlights need to be flashlights that are very user friendly. This is going to be getting picked up by preteens, maybe kids, maybe your spouse who don't deal with flashlights very often. They also need to be very charger friendly, right? So very common chargers, whatever, so people would understand how to charge these things up if you have the ability to charge them up. So I like the flashlights that Coast is putting out. This one here does have like this swivel top that takes it from a floodlight. And when you twist it in, it does become a spot beam, okay? So if they're trying to spot something a little bit further away, they can do that. And then just a nice, easy to use floodlight. There's nothing complicated about this light. Most people understand to half press it to go through the different modes, full press it to so you get a momentary or full press it to have constant on. Clicky switch, has a monster size battery in this bad boy. It is a built-in battery. I think it does come with a battery caddy, which I probably lost long ago, but this can be charged with micro USB and it can be discharged with USB type A. So if you need to tap this battery for whatever reason, I wouldn't recommend that because this may be one of your only flashlights. You can use this. It's also a nice bright color so that even in the most like just, you know, times when it's really hard to see, you can still see this bad boy. And the lumen output is not necessarily the most important in these instances. I would say as long as you have something that's putting out at least 500 lumen, you're going to be fine inside of your house. You may want to get something that has the ability to have a lanyard or a hook attached to it. So that way, whoever you give this to, they can attach some paracord or lanyard to it and just keep this around their wrist. So that would be something that I will put on the outside of the bag for sure. Another flashlight that may be for dad specific, like that's I'm very going to be used to, but Mrs. X can still be able to navigate it, is the Olight Seeker 4 Pro. They just came out with the Olight Seeker Ultra. Looking to get my hands on that. This is a very user-friendly light. I like this because once the power goes out, I can clip this to my basketball shorts, my belt, my trousers, whatever, and be able to have it for quick use. It can be charged while in the caddy with USB Type-C, so that does make it charger-friendly, but it does use the proprietary charger by Olight for charging the battery when it's not in the caddy. That is kind of a downfall, but I will say this thing has a great spot beam. It's called the Seeker for a reason. It's not really like the Javelot or the Warrior series where they kind of have like a nice spot beam mix. This one really is designed for spotting stuff, illuminating, you know, an area very, very easily. This one here has a brightness level indicator on this side, a battery indicator on the left side, and it's pretty easy to navigate and to use. It does come with a caddy. I think hopefully the upgraded version comes with a caddy as well. This is going to be a great flashlight. I keep the proprietary charger from Olight in this bag, but I also pull this out and check the battery pretty often. This was their zombie color that they came out with last October. Nice to be able to have that. So that's something else that's on the outside of the bag. Another thing that's always in the outside pocket for me is a multi-tool. In the instances where I may need to instantly use or to disable something that relies on power, I want a multi-tool. So I have certain doors in my house that use power. They use to be able to unlock or lock certain doors, and to access those, you know, those doors when the power goes out. Sometimes you need to be able to tap in with a slotted screwdriver. Sometimes you may want to take the door apart. You know, those little type of things, I want to be able to have this to my use. I like the Gerber Dual Force because it has massive pliers, just really good pliers. If you ever find yourself needing to use them, they're adjustable. So they go from a wider mouth to, you know, more of a precision type of head. They don't have wire cutters built in, but you can use wire cutters down here at the bottom. And these are pretty durable. They're very, very reliable. They're not going to have all the bells and whistles that you may get with some of the Gerber's other multi-tools, or even like with something from Leatherman, but you're still going to have what you're going to need if you want to have a knife built in. It's a very long knife, and I think it's 428C for the knife itself. One thing I love about it is this bit driver. Bit driver, super long, super accessible. It uses standard size quarter-inch bits. So if I have those laying around, which I do all over the place, I know I'm going to be able to load those up, use them as I see fit. It does have a wood and a metal file with a chisel, not just a pry bar, but this is actually a chisel. So you can use that for just super extreme scenarios where you can use this to mallet and really to chisel out some wood if you really need it to, for whatever reason. And then, of course, you also have the ability to have a wood saw. Now, if you need to knock down about a 3-inch branch, this is a pretty hefty saw, 3-inch branch or so, you're going to be able to take that out pretty easily with this. All of them have like built-in kind of liner locks or whatever. Great multi-tool. I like the fact it doesn't have a pocket clip. There are no hot spots when you're using this. I used this literally today. I had to do some maintenance to the the bed of my truck. I had a lot of stuff going on. These are where it keeps additional bits. So one thing I like about the Dual Force is the bits are kind of built in down here. So right now I have loaded up a slotted, but there's a Phillips in here. I think that's a T20 that's loaded up in here as well. So all that, keep that on the outside. So those are some of my critical items for the outside of this super, neon green bag. And I keep that type of stuff on the outside so that I'm always able to just kind of grab it and I'm ready to rock and roll. Now, other stuff I'm okay with digging around inside the bag and looking for, because the critical stuff that I want to grab quickly, they're on the outside of the bag. Now, one thing I really let my kids use, I have like 8 or 9 of these just different brand. I don't care what brand they are. Just any of these waterproof, and these things float. This one is by Luminaid. You have to blow it up to make it float, but this one charges with solar, or you can use a micro USB-C cable. But this one's it's literally charging right now because of my studio lights. I like this because you turn it on, you have a nice, easy to use, dimmable lantern, let your kids be able to play with it. They also feel like they're part of the survival. If I can pass one of these out to my 5-year-old, pass one of these out to my 11-year-old, and they can keep it with them in their room. They can keep this when they're trying to brush their teeth. And this thing has such a long battery life. If they leave it on, which kids tend to do, not that big of a deal. Throw it out in the sun. When the sun comes out the next day, it's going to be able to charge up. It tells you what the charge level is by pushing this little button up here. These are great. Just I would say, get yourself a few of these. Let every single person in the family that's younger be able to use them. If you want something that's a little bit more advanced, you can get the ones here by Goal Zero. I like this one a little bit more because it deploys faster. You don't have to actually blow it up, and it still gives you that nice dedicated space. You can use it in a number of ways. It also charges with solar, and you can also use a plug if you want to just charge it up a little bit faster. Collapses very quickly. Any of these type of things, man, just let people participate in their own survival. Okay, so you can keep this on in a kitchen and just leave it sitting on the counter, so when people walk in there for whatever reason, they always have a way to illuminate. So that's inside the bag. I don't need that to be quickly accessible or anything like that. Paracord. Now, I like unwrapped, untouched paracord in this bag because I know exactly how much I'm going to have. If I have a spool of 25 or a 50, then I've already been kind of picking at it because I was doing this project and that project. I really don't know the condition of it. I really don't know how much I really have. So I like just paracord that has not been touched to be kept in here. Real 550 cord though. So 550 test pounds. If you want to get a 95 test pound or 85 test pound, it's going to be thinner. Maybe you can put more of it in the bag, but you never know what you may want to use this for. Tying doors shut, being able to fix something that breaks, being able to fix clothing items, whatever. Paracord, I think, is a critical item to always keep. And of course, that's going to be inside the bag. Now, hot hands, or, in this case, these are the generics. So these are basically, you can use these to keep different parts of your body warm. You're losing power. You're going to be in sleeping bags, maybe bivy sacks, maybe blankets, whatever. These little things, when the heat's not working, you can pop these. I have a lot of them. I probably have nearly 100 of them between the actual name brand of hot hands and then these heat factory things. But you take these bad boys up, you crinkle them, and then you can use these for warmth on your kidneys, in your pockets, near your feet. So it's just a comfort level. Keep a lot of these around if you're able to. That's going to be very, very nice if you're trying to just make it more comfortable. Also, you can keep some emergency bivy sleeping bags. Now, most likely, we're going to have a power outage here at the crib. But I also tend to like to take this Blackout kit if we're going on a road trip. So if we're going to Oklahoma, or if we're going to Texas Hill Country, or we're going to Austin, we're going to be in a cabin or something like that, I will take the Blackout kit. And having an emergency bivy sleeping bag just makes it that much more comfortable to be able to keep warm. If you get stranded on the road, or if you get stranded inside of an Airbnb that doesn't have that best of sleeping arrangements, I have enough of these for the entire family. They all have built-in whistles, and they're, these are just very nice and handy to have. Those go inside of the kit. And also indoor emergency blankets. Now, if you get any emergency blanket, I would say get it from a reputable brand. You also want to get one that's bright orange, and you want to get one that fits your body length. I'm 73 inches tall. This thing here is 84 by 48. So I know that I'm going to be able to comfortably lay underneath this emergency blanket. So if you do get these things, you want to be able to have it. So if you have an emergency situation where once someone gets extremely wet and you need to quickly warm them up, emergency blankets are going to be key for that. Even if it's not a part of your family, if someone's coming in or you're trying to help somebody out, you're going to want those. I like Snap lights, Kim lights, whatever brand you want to get. I got a ton of these as well. These are also fun to let the kids have. Snap these, they last, up to 12 hours. These can keep different things illuminated. A walkway, a pathway, you're trying to figure out where the trash is. Maybe you want to have an outhouse or a way to gather water or whatever. You want to just sometimes have these to illuminate certain areas, not necessarily using those rechargeable lanterns. You can just use these bad boys. These are fantastic to have. Those go inside the bag. Now, these emergency candles, these are only to be used by my teenagers and by the adults. These things can go 96, some of them go 116 hours, some of them go 120 hours. They're great. You light it up, the wick is fantastic, and you can literally see how much you have left. It's very easy to see right through it. And these are just really great to be able to, they produce small, just a small amount of warmth, but they're really good for illuminating an area. 96 hours, 116 hours, that's over 4 days. Light this bad boy up, keep it in a common area, and just let it go. Okay, it's not that big of a deal. But then you just know that you're gonna have peace of mind to know that you have fire, you have something that's lighted, you don't have to recharge it, all that good stuff. I keep 4 of these in the bag as well, just in case I need them. Now I have 6 of these. These are instant lanterns that where you pull them up, they come on immediately. I had to check these because these are using alkaline batteries. I could put rechargeable batteries in here if I wanted to, but I like these. I do have to pull these out every few months to make sure the batteries aren't dead or if they haven't corroded. But I like these because my kids can grab them. If they're going to be leaving the common area during a blackout, like the living room or our bedroom, and they're going to go to their own room, they can take this, walk up the stairs without a candle, walk up the stairs without those blow-up lanterns or whatever, and they can feel like they're part of their own survival, right? Even if you need to walk outside and check a bump in the night. They're not going to illuminate a large area, but they're going to be just enough to where you're going to feel comfortable. You can also hang these from different areas as well. Just let them die. If you got enough of them, I like these things. They're relatively affordable and your kids can rock those as well. So I think you should have a separate knife. You're probably going to know where your knives are if you're at the crib. You're probably going to be able to have those reliable, but have some type of full tang knife that you can mallet, that you can use if you need to split some type of wood outside. If you need to use it for prying like an idiot, you can do that. So I would get something relatively affordable, but reliable. The Buck, like the Alpha series from Buck, I think these are very good knives. They all come in less than 120 bucks. They have the full tang goodness. You're going to be able to have the Cerakote on these. You're going to be able to mallet these if you need to. They have the jimping, so you can get up on them if you have to do some type of kindling or whittling or whatever. These are just really good knives to have with you at all times. And you're going to be able to use these for self-defense, for cutting purposes, for whatever emergency purposes that you may need. And they're so relatively affordable. If you only touch them 2 times a year, you're not going to necessarily care as much. I would recommend, though, that if you're going to keep these in this bag, keep the bag out of the reach of your kids, because these are just in a simple sheath and, phalanges get cut. So that would be my recommendation. Maybe keep that one somewhere in the bag, but like highly visible so that you won't even forget that you have it in there. Maybe keep it near the multi-tool or something like that. You might want to do that. Okay, a way to produce light and fire, I think, is also important. This is a whirly bag. This is a lock sack, excuse me. This is made in America. This is a waterproof bag. I like this because this just has a bunch of kind of like MacGyver stuff in here. So it has a 9-volt battery that has a LED flashlight on the end of it if I want to have that. I have duct tape in here. I have at least 24 waterproof matches in here. I have a ferro rod and striker. I have one of these like cat killer things to keep the moisture out of this bag. I have a Right in the Rain pad as well as a pen in here. I have redundancy somewhere else in there, but this is a true Right in the Rain pad if we need to take notes. A utility person comes by and they want to get some information, or if they want my address or whatever, just a way to write something down very, very quickly. So this bag is always kind of like, sometimes it's growing, it's shrinking. We do keep some tinder in here. We do have just different ways to just be able to have fire in our fire pit if we want to. My main fireplace is gas, so I would hope that if the power goes out, I could still light my my pilot light and light that up. But so I got this. That's going to be helpful just to have that ready to rock and roll. Another thing I would say is keep some of these like Big Otter towels. These things, they're actually paper towels, which are like shrink wrap. Once you wet these, they expand really, really big. You can wipe faces, you can wipe mouths, you can wipe off stuff. You know, if you're having a meal, MREs, or you're eating a real meal or whatever. And you can just have a ton of these. And then that way, if you run out of paper towels, you can't go to the store, you still have the ability to wipe down surfaces, wipe down kids' hands. So these things are fantastic. I tend to just keep like a ton of these just in case we need them. And freely can just go to the bathroom sink, wet those, they expand, they get really big. Kleenex, a few packs of Kleenex. It's going to really suck to not be able to wipe boogers and all that type of stuff. So we keep those in there just in case. Another way that my kids participate in their own survival. Those other flashlights I showed you, they're not going to be able to use those. Those are for the adults. But these little, like, you know, these kind of like inky dinky flashlights, they don't put out a ton of lumen, just enough to kind of illuminate right in front of them. But they charge with the sun. And they also can use the winding feature on the side of these bad boys, and they can just be able to wind these up and get a little bit of a charge. So if they're walking up our stairs, they don't bust their ass. They can use these just to illuminate the area in front of them. They have a built-in carabiner. They're not the most complicated flashlights. I'm okay if my kids lose them. Keep about 5 or 6 in the bag. That way kids feel like they are doing the same thing that dad is doing. Some brain snacks. These are really for the adults because the kids hate these things, but these are going to help me stay focused. I'm very stressed out when we lose power. I'm the person that's trying to figure out the solar power stations, the national radio. Am I going to be able to keep the Wi-Fi going because those are hooked up to some type of generators or whatever? Me being sharp and acute is very important to me. I keep these brain care. These are full of omegas just for me able to pound these down. They have a little bit of protein in them as well. So that way I can try to stay sharp, especially if I'm running on lower amounts of sleep. So I keep these in the bag, keep about like 5 or 6 of those in there. Kids are going to get bored quickly. Playing cards, Uno, whatever. I keep dice in here for my younger kids to be able to play, or dominoes in here for my young kids to be able to play with. I have Uno cards in here. I have regular playing cards in here. That way, we're not just sitting around. We're going to have toys and shit. But like I say, this bag may travel. So to be able to have some ways for kids to have fun, it's pretty important to me as well. Finally, I like a repeatable, reliable med kit. In a repeatable, reliable way to document stuff. I showed you that Right in the Rain set earlier. So we do have some more Right in the Rain items in here. These are number 97 Right in the Rain pads. These open up like a book versus the other one that was a spiral. A real Right in the Rain pen is in here as well so that we can take notes. Like I said, be able to take notes about stuff, pass information to people. That's in the bag. And a number 7 med kit from Adventure Medical Kits. I like their number 3 and their number 7. Those are my favorite kits from them. They're very reliable. I know exactly what's in those kits. And if you order from them, you can go to their websites and order refills of this crap. So if you're using this and you use the gauze, use the Band-Aids, you use whatever, you can go back to their website, order a refill pack of this, stick the refill in here. And if you get used to the items, it's going to have, you know, generic Tylenol in here. It's going to have safety pins. It's going to have just a really, really good kit. And this is more of a family size kit. The number 3 is kind of like more of a hiker or personal kit to keep in your backpack. Maybe you can even check out the number 5. But the number 7s, I think they make a bigger one. Those are definitely designed to be for the family. You can attach these with carabiners to the outside of the bag, but you know, this is really designed for the fam. And then we do have a little bit of a hygiene kit in here. This is just in case, you know, we do have a lot of materials at the crib, at the house, but these are just a little bit of extra stuff that we have. And this is a kit that I just bought on Amazon, and I manipulated it, right? So, you know, a little bit of deodorant or, you know, personal stuff for the ladies, just in case they don't have that type of stuff and it's that time of the month. A little bit of shampoo and body wash and baby powder and mouthwash and cotton swabs, just things that you may not have at the ready, but you still, hygiene is very important for your heart, for your body, for your morale. So I keep this kit in here as well. So that way I'm still able to do basic hygiene. So when the whole kit It's decked out. This is what we end up having here. We got the Blackout kit, which lives in my closet, okay? And then I'm able to take this. Mine's a little bit unorganized right now because I was just throwing this stuff in here for you guys, but I can take this entire thing and literally just kind of throw it in my closet, okay? And then I or my wife, and there's been times when I was not here, and Mrs. X grabbed this bag. You know, we had some tornado warnings. She grabbed this bag, a mattress, shoes. You know, she put shoes on my kids and jackets on my kids and got in the bathtub. Okay. So when I found them, they were in a bathtub with this bag and shoes on. Just in case tornado rips the house down, you already got shoes on your feet. You got your Blackout kit. Those type of things that even if this kit is not super effective, it still makes you feel like you're doing something. And sometimes in emergency situations, doing something is important. Okay. So that's just my go-to for a Blackout kit. What do you think is missing out of this? This has been tested a whole lot of times over the last 5 years, and I like this kit a lot. You know, I've taken stuff out of this kit. In the past, I've had like MREs and day snack. Listen, normally Blackout in my house, I don't need that shit because we have a kitchen. Okay, these are things that aren't normally laying out and accessible inside my house. So that makes it easier to keep it all in one kit. First time stopping by, hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you part of the battalion. If this is not your first time stopping by, well, thank you once again for watching me run my grape. For everyone else, we'll speak soon.